to say today? Well, I'm pretty sure I've talked about these experiences in other live videos, but they didn't get posted. I have now seen, so I'm really not like a YouTube person. I don't edit my videos, I don't really pre-plan anything. I kind of just hit a wave of I got to do this right now, and I jump on here and either I do a live or I do a video and then I post it. I'm hoping that this will post afterwards. Um yeah, so I wanted to talk about my Parasite cleanse experience and what that was like. And it's funny because I just started talking to my therapist about it. And yeah, because it was pretty paradigm shifting. I've had a few paradigm shifting moments in my life, and Parasite Cleanse was one of them. So this goes back to 2024 now. And it was, well, I guess it was December 2023. Well, let's go back to 2023. Was when I started getting this weird inclination that I might have some parasite overgrowth. And why was I getting that intuition? Well, I was dealing with a lot of weird, like, skin issues where, like, the skin on my back would flare up in almost like hives, like, but it wasn't necessarily hives. It was almost like acne, but it wasn't acne either. It was some kind of obvious. My body was reacting to something. Couldn't figure out what it was. At the time, I think I might have, like, during COVID, I kind of picked up vaping here and there. And I thought, fuck, is this the vape shit? I mean, this stuff is terrible. I stopped vaping thinking that that might fix the skin. Did not fix the skin. And I was just kind of on this journey for a little while of, like, I hadn't quite locked in on my nutrition yet. Wasn't eating like horribly, but compared to now, like, my diet is quite clean. We're talking about parasites. We're not gonna have that conversation. Anyways. Okay. I'm just not gonna really reply to the chat so much because I want to get through this story, because it actually takes a little bit to kind of get through all of the parts that kind of paint this whole picture. And I remember a friend of mine, like, years and years and years ago, she was like just a deep internet diver and like Redditor and stuff like that on forums, and I was reading about weird shit. And I remember her talking about parasites at one point, and I was like, I don't even remember what she said about them other than, like, I don't know, maybe something along the lines of, they're more common than we think or whatever. Anyways, I didn't really ever give it much thought. She was more, into like weird body stuff than I was at the time. And anyway, so going back to 2023, I'm getting this intuition here and there that there might be something to do with parasites going on. In the fall of 2023, I started like losing a whole bunch of hair. And I thought that was really weird. I'm like, what the hell is going on? My mom started losing a bunch of hair too. We're like, what the hell is going on? Went to a pharmacist. We're asking about iodine for reasons. And she's like, why are you thinking about needing iodine? Like, usually there's a specific reason, right? And so we were like, well, this, that, and the other. And she's just like, did you have COVID in the last like 3 to 5 months? And we're like, well, we were both really sick about like 4 months before our hair started falling out, right? So we're like, okay. So she gives us a regimen of like keratin, collagen, whatever, biotin. Um, Eventually the hair stops falling out excessively. Um, so it's not, that wasn't necessarily parasites, but again, we're going into why is ivermectin, which is an anti-parasitic medication given to like more than half the world's population, what works against COVID? I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if anyone's heard lately, but like a lot of cancer, if not maybe all of the cancer, is related to parasites, you guys. It's parasites. Anyways, I'm not trying to like, freak anybody out here, but it's worthwhile to investigate. That being said, come to 2023 December, I been dating my boyfriend for a couple months at that point. We're at work. It's after Christmas. He gets sick. Okay. I had, oh, yes, backtrack a little bit. Sorry, jumping around. There's a lot to pull in, and I feel like it's relevant to give the full picture. So 2023 still, getting the intuition that maybe parasites. I start looking at a little bit of things here and there, but it's like I keep having this fear of doing a cleanse because I'm afraid that something's going to come out of my eyes, of all things. Um, so I'm not thinking about it every day. I end up going to this after party in the summertime, and my friend tells me, "Oh, you got to meet my friend here and talk. You guys got a lot to talk about." I'm like, "Okay, cool." We chatted a little bit. Didn't I can't remember. Maybe whatever. We had some deep chats, a little bit, but not much. And then, but we added each other on Instagram, and I like in the next few days or whatever, I went to his Instagram and it was all talking about parasites. And I was like, holy fuck. Okay, that is the synchronicity I needed to like know that there's something actually going on. So I ended up picking up a herbal cleanse from the like health food store in town, and it was like a traditional herbal cleanse of clove, wormwood, black walnut kind of thing in a tincture, and then there was some other herbs in the capsules. I sat on it for months, and then when my boyfriend got sick in December, and after Christmas, I was like, I had a bunch of candy and garbage and shit at Christmas time, and I was just like, "Ugh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done feeding the worms. The time is now." So I decided to start the cleanse on the 1st of January because it would just be easier for me to keep track of the days, right? Like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 15-day cleanse. Take the protocol twice a day. And this was for intestinal parasites too. So, boyfriend got sick. I didn't get sick. The 1st of January happens. I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna get sick from you. So I'm gonna start this cleanse. I did not know about taking binders. I did not know about heavy metal detoxing and stuff like that, drainage pathways, making sure that everything is flowing out of your body properly beforehand, and taking that binder during the cleanse as well to help your body expel the products of the die-off of the parasites, which is like heavy metal, like shedding into your body. Basically, these parasites hold on to heavy metals in your body. And I might be explaining this wrong, but this is a sort of general, like do your own research. Okay. um so I'm 5 days, let's say 5 days into the cleanse, there's also like with the cleanse protocol, you want to like cut out sugar, dairy. There's a bunch of stuff that it says like avoid eating. And I started the cleanse and I was like, okay, I'm just, I cut back on everything, but still feeling like, I maybe I'm not doing the cleanse properly. I'm not seeing anything in the first couple days. Okay, whatever. So I am cutting back now, like day 2 or 3 into the cleanse. I'm cutting back on coffee and weed and smoking and uh feeling like I just need to like give my all into this. I start feeling crappy on like the 4th day, like really crappy. Like I'm sweating buckets. I'm like not feverish, but like just feeling like hell. Like I've just so much snot coming out of my face. My eyes were watering, like sweating like profusely through shirt after shirt after shirt. I just like it was I'm thinking, okay, this has to be the die off because I didn't feel sick. Like, I'm also thinking maybe I am now getting sick from my boyfriend's illness that he was sort of getting over, but hard to tell, right? Well, what was what? So I'm feeling worse and worse. The 5th day, I took only half of the protocol. I took my morning protocol. I think of the tincture and the capsule. And I was like, I don't know if I should keep taking this because I'm feeling really wrecked. Like, if my body can't handle all this right now, maybe I need to reevaluate how I'm doing this. um, and at this point, like, I'm still not really seeing anything leaving my body that says that, like, oh, there's parasites, leaving my intestines. And but I'm having like a lot of snot, like gross, like mucus drainage. I should have pre-warned everyone. This is like a lot of gross body stuff, but anyways, I won't get too graphic, but day 5, I'm feeling really, really bad, really bad. I think it was this next day I didn't take any of the cleanse and I just felt so rough. I wasn't getting really better. Um, then the next day it was the eighth day, I actually checked myself into emerge because my throat was starting to close up and it was like really swollen and I was just like I was sick. And now I was sick. I had fever and I was sick. So checked myself in. I ended up getting diagnosed with strep throat. I told the doctor what I was doing, like I'm on this cleanse. I stopped taking it. He's like, that's probably good. Gave me antibiotics for the strep throat. Took one of the antibiotics that night at the hospital. The next morning, I don't think I had taken the antibiotic yet. And I was feeling I was feeling so rough. Like I remember I ended up like going and taking a hot shower because I was just like shivering and cold. And I never have I don't like maybe 2 times in my life have I ever like sat down in the shower, and like just had to sit there. And I sat down in the shower and I was just crying and I'm like, well, this is so weird. Like, why do I feel so low right now? Like, I'm just sick. I'm okay. Like, I'm just sick. And but I actually felt like this weird wave of like almost like depression and just like fear from like I don't know what. And I'm sitting in the shower, I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? I gotta shake this off. Uh, you know, finish the shower, I get out, I get cozy, and like thinking maybe I'm gonna go sit down and play guitar and just, play some good music that, makes me feel good when I play it. And I sat down and I start playing Closer to the Heart by Rush because I love that opening riff and I love playing that like and it just like every time I hear that and I play it I feel that like lift in my energy. And something told me I needed to do that in some form or another. And I'm playing the guitar and I'm like really feeling the resonance of the guitar against my body and feeling that energy in me starting to rise up again, like from that low place that I was at. And I was like, wow, like, like that's the magic of music, I'm thinking to myself. And as I'm feeling that, I start like, start feeling like I'm choking on something in the back of my throat. And I'm feeling this like weight shifting in the back of my sinuses, like right, like back, like at the top, like kind of like above my soft palate in my throat. And if like, like mucus glob coming down from my nose. It's like so gross. I'm like, ew. So I feel like I gotta go hork a loogie. And I go to the bathroom and it's like so this is where I start to get a little bit like freaked out when I tell this story, honestly. And not to be weird about it, but like, yeah, sorry. I need a second. I know we're live and I don't edit. Okay. So I start working out this, what I think is like a mucus glob coming down from my sinuses. And there's a little bit of pain. Um, and I like kind of have to snort it back because it feels like it's stuck and it's like causing me to like have some trouble breathing at this point. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Kind of like trying not to panic. I'm alone at this point in the house. So like if I'm choking, like I don't know where my phone was at the time, but I was like, I felt like I was, might choke. So I was a little bit concerned. But anyways, I'm working out this loogie. It manages to finally like, and I spit it out. And this is where it's a little gross. It's this glob. Hard to describe the shape of it because it was kind of like balled up, about this big, like at least, like it was a little bit bigger than the end of my thumb. And at first it was in my sink and I was like, whoa. And I'm like, should I take a picture of this? Like, so I can tell the doctor. And my voice might get a little shaky because it's so weird. I know like sometimes I can just talk about this and it's like, yeah, I had a parasite. It was, or whatever. That was weird. And then when I'm like really thinking about it and like there in my memory, like I don't know what other, I haven't really heard like people's personal experiences with parasites. I've seen some videos of like gross shit, but like I've never actually investigated and listened to anybody else's story of how they felt about the expulsion. Again, I'd like to say that I was doing a intestinal parasite cleanse. So I was expecting stuff to come out of my in my shit. basically. Um, yeah, so this glob looked like at first like kind of bloody, like there was some blood on it. Um, Not a lot, and I also spit out some blood afterwards, and it felt raw in my sinuses. It felt tender for quite a few days after. But it healed up. There was no other blood after that. Like I didn't have a bloody nose or, didn't cough out any other blood from my sinuses after the initial expulsion. So I'm looking at this thing, it's in my sink, and I know my mom's gonna be coming home. Like I was at my mom's place and I know she was gonna be coming home like soonish. So I think, okay, I'll at least scoop it onto I got a piece of cardboard from the recycling and like scooped it on and put it to the side because I felt like I needed a witness. I was like, I'm not gonna take a picture of this, but I need another like grounded, rational individual to like look at this and witness this. And another really gross and part of that was it smelled. It smelled like death. Like if you've ever smelled a dead rodent or anything worse. It smelled like death. It smelled like death, and that came out of my fucking sinuses. And the craziest part, and this is where I might get a little emotional too. Like I can feel myself getting choked up. This thing came out, and the weirdest thing was that like within 30 seconds of this thing being out of my face and I hadn't even like assessed what I was looking at in the sink yet, it just felt dark. It felt really dark. And I looked my all my symptoms of like the pain in my throat from the strep, the fever, the aches. I was like full on like sick, achy, run down, massive brain fog. I was feeling like the craziest brain fog I have ever felt in my life. Um, it went away. It just stopped. It stopped, and I like looked up in the mirror, and I have bad vision, and somehow like my actual vision didn't get clearer, but like the maybe it was just because the brain fog was so intense and it was just suddenly gone. It was so shocking. Like it was shocking that it was just suddenly gone. And I was like, what in the freaking like placebo was that? Like, going through all the thoughts and I'm like, okay, well, that's some really fast acting antibiotic, but why would the antibiotic? Like, I was just doing this cleanse. This is obviously the cleanse. Holy shit. All these thoughts just, I really didn't want a parasite to come out of my face. I was really I was really freaking out. Like at one point, like a couple days in, I was feeling something maybe I was just having an eye twitch or something, but I was feeling this weird wriggling sensation in my eye, and I was like panicked. I was convinced that there was going to be a worm coming out of my eye before this whole, where like this came out, like the thing came out of my sinuses on day 8 or day 9, morning of day 9. No, morning of day 8. Sorry. And the eye wriggling thing happened like on day 2 or 3. And I had this like crazy panic attack. I kind of laughed. I was laughing at the same time because I was like, oh my God, I have to chill out. Like if there is something that needs to come out of my eye, I need to relax so that it fucking leaves my eye. Anyway, so the feeling of the sickness finally like just suddenly goes away 30 seconds after this thing comes out. And I don't know, I looked up at myself in the mirror, and I felt like I was looking at myself, looking at me for the first time in I don't know how long. I don't know how long. I don't know how long this thing was in my body. Um, I might jump around here a little bit. Like I ended up doing, my little WebMD research, not like not on WebMD, but on the internet searching for like sinus parasites that live in your sinuses. I didn't really find anything other than like little worm kind of things for humans. And then I came across something that apparently was a dog sinus parasite, and that looked pretty much exactly like what came out of my nose. So it was like a mucusy glob. It wasn't like translucent completely, but like you could see into it. And there was like this little line, like black kind of squiggly line, and then a little squiggly black blob. And then the line continued, which I assume was like maybe like the digestive tract of the parasite. And it was obviously like an organism, like, and the way that it smelled like dead animal, like what the fuck. Anyways, and the size of it, like, and immediately after too, like this thing came coming out, I could breathe way better. Like, whoa, like I didn't even realize I was having like a congestion issue before. And so yeah, this dog sinus parasite, I can't remember the name of it. Um, Maybe I will add it to like the description below or whatever. I'll try to Google it and find it again. It apparently like it enters your facial orifices, like I guess your nose, your mouth, via dog. I guess, like think, a dog licking your face maybe. And it goes, I guess eggs or whatever that's in their mouth, it goes down into your digestive tract and then makes its way up to your sinuses to mature. Isn't that lovely? Oh yeah. So I didn't have a family doctor at the time to speak with about this, and I wasn't really comfortable just going to like a walk-in doctor. Um, I was really concerned about being kind of like disbelieved because this was fucking traumatic. This was traumatic. My mom saw me go through this. She saw the before and after. She was home like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour after this happened, like it came out. And then she saw me. She was just like, "What's going on?" Like, because I opened the door and I'm all peppy and like alive again. And the last time she saw me, I was like shivering, miserable, sweating through my clothes, and like wanting to die. Like, I- you know, I was like worried about myself. Like before, I was like, why am I so depressed feeling like while I'm sick right now? Like, this is so weird. Like, I'm just sick. It's fine. It's not the end of the world, but it felt like the end of the world. Anyway, so yeah, the night and day difference was just like, undeniable immediately for her as well. And I was like, I need to show you something. And I take her to the bathroom and I'm like, this is like freaking me out. Like, I was a little bit rattled and, um, just like, what the hell is going on? Like, I felt so weird. I felt so weird afterwards. I gotta say this, like, I felt like I had just taken, and I certainly had not, I had certainly not. I felt like I had just taken like half a dab of acid or something, and I was like that really crystal clear, like, whoa, like everything is like I felt like euphoric. I felt euphoric, like after this thing came out of my face. Weird. And one of the weird things that started happening immediately after this thing came out was I kept looking at myself in the mirror. Like every time I would pass a mirror, I would like look at myself like really like sharply, like right in the eye, as if I was, as if my reflection was trying to get my attention. I know that sounds really weird, and I don't think I've ever said that actually to anybody that knows this story. This was a really weird part of it. Like, I cannot deny that this was in some way spiritual. At the time, I had no idea. And about the gospel of the Essenes. And in the days following, I had to look up like parasites and demons. I just felt compelled to. I really did. And there's a lot out there. I don't know why this gets me a little bit shaky too. I think because it's fucking real, man. I think because there's something, not necessarily that the parasites are physically demons, but the parasitic energy of an entity, like, some in nature, like something that feeds off the life force of something else and manipulates the will of that being to serve its purposes. Is that not inherently demonic? Like, I'm not a religious person, you guys. If anyone's been around the show, you know that I'm spiritual, if anything, and I have an interest of developing interest in things like Christ consciousness, Gnosticism, that kind of thing, Hermeticism. And that interest comes from my experiences. That interest has organically arisen from the absolute what the fuck reaction to some of the things that I've experienced. And my grandparents were Roman Catholic, and I attended some Sunday services, church with them. I never took communion, I never did that. I actually really rejected religion and Christianity altogether when I was young, and was way more interested in like new age stuff. Interested, but not like, I never like studied anything really, like I never considered myself really practicing of any kind of spiritual belief at all, but I was open minded but skeptical as well. Anyway, at this point in my life with the whole parasite thing, I've been aware of Christ consciousness. I've been aware of that concept through multiple different, pathways. And without going into that story, like I do think that I may have had an experience connecting, for a moment with what I believe was Christ consciousness because of the way it felt and how it motivated me afterwards to rethink, reshape, reassess my actions in the world, in a very, grounding and positive way. I believe that, I had a concept of Christ consciousness before this parasite thing came out, and I still hadn't gotten to the point where I'd really felt comfortable diving into biblical or like, scripture of any kind. I always felt like a resistance to anything that claimed to be the word of God but written by man, no matter how close you get or it could be, it's always coming through that filter of, you know, us, and you're trying to put something that is ineffable into words, and it's just, I don't know, like, I like the Tao Te Ching. I don't know, it works for me in a lot of ways as a way to sort of get close to the, I don't know, whatever it is. I digress. The Parasite and looking into demons and stuff like that afterwards, and never really giving, the true biblical, you know, what are demons, a real look, and I don't know if you've ever seen like the microscopic view of some of these like parasites that live in our bodies rent free motherfuckers. Um, but they look pretty horrific, they look like dune worms and shit. They're not, they're creepy little creatures, and I don't know, just the idea that something is like feeding off of your body and potentially, like, if you've ever looked like Toxoplasma gondii, okay? We'll give you a short brief on that. Toxoplasma gondii is a parasite that lives in rats that cats get and pass on to humans, and the cycle, goes around like that. And it's an absurd number, and I don't, please do your own research, but I think it's something absurd, like 60% of the population, like North American population or whatever, like has some level of Toxoplasma gondii. Like, I don't know, you gotta look into that. Um, but like this parasite like changes your behavior, and it's like the crazy cat lady disease. If you like, if you've ever heard of like that actual like, crazy cat lady syndrome, it's Toxoplasma gondii. It's a parasite infection, and it happens when you don't fucking, keep your cat's litter boxes clean, and it goes through their bodies and into their fecal matter and onto their paws, and they spread it around. And anyways, sorry, if you have cats, keep their little patty paws off like your pillows and stuff like that. Oh my god, obviously I had this experience with the parasite after many years after my last pet, my cat, passed away. And I just think, now going forward, if I were to ever have an animal again, like, it would be a I would do things differently because of what I know now. And I always had my cat on like deworming medication and stuff, and every time we gave it to her, she would hork up worms. So cats have worms at best, if not Toxoplasma gondii, which goes into your brain, like, or like tries to go into your brain. Um, yeah. So the Gospel of the Essenes. I'm kind of actually making this video as an update on this experience because a channel that I follow, shout out to Library of the Untold, actually saw my comment on his post, where he shared like the 3 pages of this bit from the Gospel of the Essenes where Jesus helps a man who is suffering from demons. And basically he pulls, like, long story short, he pulls out the abominable worm from this man who's been fasting. And then this is like a known technique to draw out tapeworms, right? He holds a bowl of warm milk and I think honey beside the man who's been fasting and fasting for days, and this worm comes out of his mouth, and Jesus like pulls it out and kills the worm, and it's like that's a tapeworm, you guys. That's a motherfucking tapeworm. And I was just like, oh my God. And the just, you got to read this. Like, look up Parasite, Gospel of the Essenes, Abominable Worm, whatever you need. Like, Library of the Untold. He's got it posted in his community posts. Um, and it's just so interesting, like, how he felt better immediately afterwards. And like I felt euphoric after this parasite came out of my freaking face. Like, we call it the face hugger because that's like what it was. Like in my sinuses, like, ew. Like, was it trying to get into my brain? Like, how long was it there? How long was it there? I felt so I felt so violated. I felt violated. Like, I was there was a huge part of me in the immediate like moments after it came out that I've felt mad. Like, I felt like, how long has this thing been warping my reality? Like, and to what degree? Like, how much of it has it been affecting my cravings, my energy levels, my personality even? Like, was it pressing on my brain? Like, did I I had this funny thought. I was like, was it pressing on my pineal gland? Did I suddenly just get like a flood of DMT into my body? Like, is that why I feel so like trippy? Like, I felt trippy. It felt so like the clarity after this thing came out was just so bizarre, and it lasted for days. It lasted for days. And that's kind of there's a whole other part to this story, really. It goes on, but I'm going to save that. Like, I have talked about it. That's the experience I had with my boyfriend, and I want to talk about that too, but in a separate video because it's going on 45 minutes ish here, and I want to wrap it up. And I think I got the whole necessary parts of like the backstory somewhat, with the intuition leading up. There was a weird gut feeling I had to do this. Synchronicities happening. I couldn't deny anymore. Still sat on the parasite cleanse, did the parasite cleanse. This thing came out of my face. And then we're on day 9 right now. And 9 and 10 were weird days. And then day 11 is the next video. So, and I will expand more on, how this experience led me deeper into Christ consciousness and what Jesus was actually telling us. Like, I don't read the Bible, guys. I'm not going to read the Bible. I don't need the Bible. And I don't mean just like, I mean, I might read bits and pieces of it for interest's sake. And I don't mean to say like, I don't need the Bible. I'm not trying to say I'm so enlightened. That is absolutely not what I mean. I just feel like the Bible is, the Council of Nicaea really messed up stuff in the Bible as far as I'm concerned. And I think you need to go pre-Bible to really get the picture of what the mysticism that has sort of been so whitewashed out of the Bible is trying to tell us. I'm more interested in like why this experience for me has just sort of opened me up to like just in a weird way, like I just started understanding things about what Jesus was trying to teach us about ourselves, about our potential, about the kingdom of heaven being within us, and you will do these things and greater. And we have these, we have, we are the conduits. Like I don't mean like channeling, I mean like really embodying the light. I don't know. Anyways, that's a ramble. I don't know how else to finish this video. I hope okay, I'll just take a quick look at the comments and hello, hello, hello. I don't know if I cleared out the eggs. So I just got a new doctor. The doctor that I ended up getting after my car accident in 2024, September. I tried talking to him about this and he was like, "Oh, if you haven't traveled outside of Canada, then I don't know what you're concerned about," basically. And I'm like, "Are you fucking like listen to me? I am," and anyways, so I have a new doctor. She seems way more um willing to listen to me and uh take a look at what's going on there with this. I have a couple other more immediate concerns that I have to deal with, but I've mentioned it to her since I've just gotten her like in February or whatever. So I am going to be addressing that because yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like if there was a mature one in my face, then we probably or I probably have more in my body. Like and I've been feeling kind of congested again and it's like I don't know where the congestion's coming from. I don't have allergies, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that I have face huggers. um I've just been kind of afraid to do the cleanse again because it was just a really intense experience. Like even the positive side of afterwards, it was so intense, you guys. Like the shift in my consciousness was real. Like it was real. And yeah, I'm gonna put a pin in that there for now. I hope everyone has a good day. And yeah, don't religious people in the comments, you guys don't get hung up here. I'm not your girl. This is not the audience. We're open-minded here, okay? We haven't made any decisions. We're not going to. We're not going to, okay? Because that's just not how I operate. So I appreciate your input, but I kindly hope that you can look beyond your beliefs, suspend them for your disbeliefs for a moment when you come to my channel because yeah, I think that's we appreciate healthy skepticism as well as you know, open-mindedness. Don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out, you know? All right. Peace and love.